and if it's not set up right from the beginning, you will get hit with capital gains tax. You're supposed to come out of this thing capital gains tax free later on in life. There'll be so many things that you'll get hit with that you'll just be going, what have I done here? This thing's an absolute nightmare, rather than an investment. It's really important too that you get all of this done before you go out and buy the property. Don't just go out and buy the property and then turn up a perpetual or something like that and go, all right, okay, I'm ready to go. Because there's so many things like bare trusts, they call them holding trusts, all sorts of things that you need to get in place. There's certain lending ratios, there's certain banks that will lend and won't lend, all that sort of thing. You can talk to Perpetual about that. They'll give you a free 1-hour consultation and just take you through that. This was a good one, and just to tell you, I had 6 bidders registered on this, and 2 of them dropped out fairly quickly, but everyone was pretty fierce, because the reason being at the moment is that this sort of property, you know, short walk to station, all that sort of thing, double parking, etc. But in this market at the moment, we don't really have a lot of stock in regards to this lower North Shore market and parts of the eastern suburbs, up to about 800,000. It's fairly thin out there at the moment, because we are getting a lot of investors coming in, because naturally an investor at the moment, they're guaranteed a tenant, and not only that, but they're guaranteed a rent increase year on year at the moment. Just going to sort of have a quick look through the suburbs here, just talk a little bit about the east and what's happening over there at the moment, and what I think is pretty hot and what's not. Sevi's in Clovelly and Bondi, and now these clearance rates, what I've done is I dissected Australian property monitors in regards to sitting there on a Sunday night. You know, the auction clearance rate comes out, oh, it's 54%. Well, actually, it was about 56% this week. The last 2 weeks was 60%. But everyone goes, oh, the auction clearance rate, you know, it needs to be up this and, you know. But the problem is that when you dissect the properties out and put them in their separate categories, this is what happens. Look at this. Semis, 75%. Units, 80% clearance rates. Houses, 2 to 3 mil, 70% clearance rates. But the media doesn't break it all up into certain sections, and there's so many different segments in the Sydney property market. There's land, there's apartments, there's semis, there's townhouses, right? There's luxury housing, there's this, that, there's so many different segments. And what you've got to be really careful about is that if, and I've seen this happen over the 15 years I've had my business and 25 years in real estate, people sit there, they follow the media and they go, and I've had clients come in and they go, well, the reason we didn't buy is because we didn't buy the semi because we looked at the clearance and we got told the market was soft. Yeah, it was soft. Down the road for the apartment at 1.2, but it wasn't soft for the semi. It's gone up 5%. Now you're 5% behind. Now, all the competition, you're going to be 10% behind by the time you find it. So go to the Australian Property Monitor's website, Home Price Guide on a Sunday night. Have a look at what you're looking for. Add them all up, divide them, and see what your clearance rate is there. House is 4 mil plus, great time to upgrade over there. The 3-bed units for empty nesters with views and all that sort of thing, they're still pretty highly sought after. Property is supply and demand, everyone. Without a doubt. Heading the lower North Shore here. Not a bad part of the world, is it, everyone, we live in? Look at that. It's just a beautiful place to be. So units 5 to 750 at the moment, 65 to 75% clearance rate. Units 800 to 1.5, that's a little bit soft at the moment, but a good time to upgrade. At the moment, you've got to understand, if you're upgrading, and I'm just watching my time here, okay, if you're upgrading, if you're in a situation where you're selling for $1 million but you're upgrading to 1.8 at the moment, well, in your price range, the clearance rate is probably about 70, 75%, so you might lose 5% there, but the clearance rate above, if you have a look at that, that might only be in the 40s or 50s and you're gaining 15% there. That's 15% capital gains tax free. So it's a fantastic time to upgrade. Semi's 1.2 to 1.6, well, it's 100% clearance rate. And that wasn't just last week, that's in general. Houses in that 1.8 to 2, very high clearance rate around here at the moment, purely because of stock levels, and it always has and always will be in that price range, because basically that's the next price range up from a semi into an entry level of a freestanding house in this area, which used to be an entry level of 1.2 when I first started. Actually, no, 800,000 10 years ago. 3 mil, bit soft up there at the moment, but good time to upgrade. Just quickly hit the beaches. And when we talk about these 2-bed and 3-bed units, I don't strongly recommend 3-bed units for investments. Funny enough, they're not actually a great investment. Everyone thinks, oh, well, you get an extra bedroom, but the problem is that 3 people don't usually move in together. You then go the demographic of 2 people moving in and hoping that the guy or the lady runs the business from home, and that's not a great sort of larger demographic to sort of pitch at. Semis in Manly is pretty strong down Manly in general at the moment. DY, I think that's a good place to sort of hit that market for units at present. In Palm Beach, well, they've still got a little way to go up there yet. There's a few problems up that way, but I think it's still another 10 to 15%. Let's quickly talk about the Inner West. Inner West is still hot. Went to a property on the weekend we missed out on, sold for 1.2 and sold for 1.25 in Petersham. Had 12 registered bidders and 150 people there. Still going out there. I think it just sat fairly sombre for quite some time. It really did, and now I think people are just really recognising that, you know, I mean, you know, but you're paying 1.2, 1.25 for a freestanding or attached 3-bedroom property out there at the moment. But are you still finding, when you're doing the auctions out the Inner West, it's still fairly strong?
Yeah.
Would you say that's the strongest area at the moment?
I think it's always been the strongest market.
It has? Right, okay. Just getting a bit of backup there, everyone. Just... You're not just saying that? Okay. Okay, I'm going to quickly finish now. I love finishing on time. Just for the buyer's agent's role, like, I've been doing this for 15 years now. I was the first buyer's agent I set up back in 1997, and I was in real estate for many years, and I looked at the USA and I looked at the UK, and that was sort of getting right into it in regards to having someone represent the buyer, both from a negotiation point of view, but also from a time point of view. A lot of the property we find is not even on the market. Pete's got about 60, 65 staff here. The amount of emails that we get every day of properties that are coming up to the market, or they're not going to be advertised publicly and that sort of thing, they're the sort of relationships we have. The idea is to sort of get out there, do all the legwork, deliver the right property for your super fund or your property investment side, control the whole emotional purchasing, which you shouldn't have too much of that happening when you're doing an investment or something in your super fund. And the idea is to protect our client at all times. Just make sure that, you know, the rents are what they are in regards to what the agents are telling us, and just make sure that we can actually negotiate the lowest possible price every time and get you into a property that's going to have a good capital gain, a low vacancy rate, and has something that's not going to be a headache but an investment in the near future.